I wanted to get into a little bit more about your transfer because, back in the day, I talked to BFL, and I think I talked to you a little bit as well
For sure.
about transferring within the Big Ten and like how big of a deal that was. And now that's more open. And Belein came around on that. But the year before you transferred, BFL, I think he even went through a petition like through the university, and like there's a whole process that he had to go through in order to transfer to IU. And it ended up being, incredible for him. I mean, he won a Big Ten championship. Same thing for you. Like it really helped his basketball career. But he did that the year before you, and you still came up with a little bit of, I guess, some pause from Belein on that. Like, it wasn't easy for him to let you do that, but did you have talks with him, or were you just kind of like, hey coach, whatever you want, I'll do. I would really like to go to Purdue, but you were kind of in the background. Like, where were you at, like talking to him with all that?
Yeah, you know what, man? My last year, like it was a complete shit show because of my whole surgery, and I was so frustrated with how everything turned out from that surgery and the fact that I wasn't back playing and that I didn't finish my career at Michigan. I'm not gonna lie. I was, and I've told Coach B this before. I was pretty immature about the whole process because I was just like, I was mad at the world because I was like, there's no way I'm dealing with this my senior year. Like, I was like, I wanted to finish my career at Michigan because it was such an unbelievable, 3.5 years. But I remember going to him because I did the red shirt. And then, the season ended and I really didn't know what I was going to do because I didn't know where my health was at. I knew I wasn't going to go overseas. I was either like just going to go get a job or try to get the 5th year. That's why I saved the medical red shirt in my back pocket. But I just remember going to him after the season, was like, hey coach, because we had Xavier Simpson coming in.
Yeah.
And dude, you know how it is. Like, I'm coming off, and we had conversations, me and Coach B, and like he was kind of asking me what I was going to do, what he's thinking. And, they didn't really have scholarships available. He had X coming in. D Walt was still on the roster. So I was like, dude, I'm not going to play here. Like, come on. I wasn't playing anyways. And now we got X coming in. So I remember I went to him and he was pretty cool with it, man.
Yeah.
Like, at first I think he was hesitant just because of everything that he went through with Max. But I honestly, because until that whole thing broke where like the Big Ten jumped in or whatever it was, like I wasn't even looking at Big Ten schools because they couldn't hit me up until like it was cleared through whatever the hell process.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking at a lot of like West Coast schools. I was looking at like Arizona, UCLA, like crazy schools, Syracuse. But then once the Big Ten thing got cleared, Purdue was one of the first schools to reach out. And I knew they were interested just because like I had mutual friends. And you know how it is. You hear through the grapevine. And
for sure. Yeah.
Hey, once this thing gets waived, like, Spike, we're going to hit you up. And once it finally got waived, like Coach B literally called me. And he wasn't like even fighting it at the time. He was just like, I remember him calling me. He was like, dude, he's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is becoming such a mess. And you know how it is with the media. They try to blow everything up.
Yeah.
And he just called me. And I was actually on a plane, but he called me. He's like, Spike, dude, this is exhausting. Like, I don't even know what. He goes, dude, I've told everybody, like, I love you. You're fine. Just go wherever the hell you want. And like, it's like, I called him back and that was that,
Yeah.
But it was like, it got super blown up in the media and it turned into like, oh, me and Coach B are butting heads and I'm pissed. I was like, dude, I wasn't even talking to any Big Ten schools. He wasn't holding me back from going to Big Ten schools. That was just a rule in place. So I wasn't even thinking about appealing it until the media got a hold of it. And then he just like pretty much said, he's like, dude, go wherever you want. Like, I'm not trying to deal with this,
Yeah. I mean, I can see like he had rules in place when I was playing, like you couldn't be, he didn't want you to transfer, or he wouldn't allow you to transfer to like a opponent that we were going to play for the next 2 years. And obviously like they could stop all intra-conference transfers. And even like back then it was like, you could stop a guy going to, like, if you wanted to go to UCLA and I was like, nope. And that kind of got out of favor, like quick. I don't even know if they made a rule about that, but like, I will say it is nice that the media like did show how one-sided it could be. Cause I remember, God, I can't remember who transferred, Maybe it was that kid with the tattoos, White from Iowa. What's his name? Aaron White.
Right? Did he transfer?
I think from Wisconsin. And then like
Oh,
Bo
yes.
Ryan tried to Bo Ryan shut down a bunch of schools and like Iowa, something like that. And it was like just so much power that these guys have, especially in football. So it's funny to see Belein in the end be like, whatever, dude. Like, I don't really care. I understand his side of it, but in the end, it's like, person to person.
Well, dude, and Stu, and you know this, and Coach B was cool because it's not like it was Coach B's rule, like the stuff was just.
He's gonna follow every rule he can. Like that's all it is.
And like it is what it is. Those are the rules. It's not like it was a Coach Belein thing. It was an NCAA thing or a Big Ten thing, whatever it was. But like, and this just goes back to like what you're saying. And I'm not, granted I was a transfer, but I'm not someone who like, hey, every time you face a little adversity, you're like, you don't get the minutes you want, boom, transfer. Like I don't think that should happen.
Right.
But look at these coaches, dude. Coaches can get up and leave whenever the hell they want. And like I know a lot of coaches who've gone from conference to conference.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Meyer was at IU and he was at Michigan.
Yeah.
Like he didn't give a beat. He's collecting checks, bro.
Yeah, and they have the ultimate strategy. Like they have the ultimate plan against the other team. Like, what's the big deal there? Like there's never been a big deal, but it's always about control. It's always been about control, and it'll continue to be about control as long as Mark Emmert is the head of the NCAA. And like my mom asked me today, she's like, "Would you work for the NCAA?" Because they're headquartered in Indy, and I was like, "Not as long as Mark Emmert is the head of it. Like, no way in hell. Like, things got to change." But
dude,
it's.
By the way, not to knock on like him or the NCAA, but just like when I was at Louisville, I mean, dude, we're in the middle of a pandemic. This whole COVID, it's like people were scrambling. Dude, teams were on their own to like fend for themselves, like in terms of protocol, scheduling. Like it was a complete crapshoot. I had never seen anything like it. Like our Dobo and our staff at Louisville, like they were just doing like however they wanted with scheduling. And I'm like, where is the leadership? Like, where is the consistency? Like throughout the NCAA, it was like, dude, it's just CYA, cover your ass. Like nobody wanted to say anything. And I'm like, this is embarrassing, like in my opinion.
It's weird. And that's why the new, like Department of Health of Michigan came in and basically was like, they came in and was like, shut down Michigan athletics, I believe is what I read. That was the process. And people are complaining about it, like it won't work. Some of the athletes came out and said they want to play. Like I understand both sides, but it's like if somebody's not going to step up and make some rules here and like give some guidelines and boundaries that are, feasible in like such a sticky situation, then yeah, you're going to get these strict guidelines, which to me, it's like play the cautious part first. Like I'd rather go that side than to not be cautious and let guys, let each individual do their own thing. But it's tough. I don't know. I can't speak because I'm not in the middle of it. I can only speak from the outside. And like, I've been home the entire time. I don't go anywhere. So it's like, I'm not like trying to compete for anything. So I don't know. It's very tricky with all these things.
No question, man.